Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ultimate breakdown for UFC 323. This card is stacked from top to bottom. 2 title fights, veterans clashing with rising stars, and matchups primed for fireworks or epic wars. We're talking Merab the Machine Dvalishvili defending his bantamweight gold against Petr in a rematch that's been brewing for years. Flyweight champ Alexander Pantoja versus the Phenom Joshua Van in the co-main event, and undercard gems like Brandon Moreno against Tatsuro Taira. Can the champions hang on to their thrones, or will we see shocking upsets? Stick around as we dive into the stats, styles, and predictions. Before we dive into each matchup, let me explain the proprietary scorecard I use to break these fights down. This isn't just opinion, it's a structured, data-driven system that scores fighters across 17 key categories like striking, grappling, cardio, mentality, and more. Each category gets a +1 to the fighter with a clear edge, with extra weight, +2 or +3 on high impact areas like wrestling, offense, and fight IQ. Totals give us a projected win percentage, helping us predict not just who wins, but how and when. You might notice some matchups scoring fewer than 17 total points. This happens when certain categories are too even to call or simply not relevant to the specific styles involved. This approach avoids enforced narratives and keeps the breakdown honest and analytical. So let's kick things off with our featured prelim, a lightweight showdown between Grant Dawson and Manuel Torres. And let me tell you, this one has Fight of the Night written all over it. You've got a relentless grappler with a rear naked choke obsession going up against a wild striker who brings chaos and finishes every time he steps into the cage. This isn't just styles making fights. This is a collision course between discipline and danger. Grant KGD Dawson is a grinder through and through. At 31 years old, sitting at 23 wins, 2 losses, and a draw, he comes into this fight ranked number 16 in the division. He's a switch stance fighter, stands 5'10", with a 72-inch reach, and while he's made striking improvements, make no mistake, he lives off that wrestling base. Dawson's put 13 guys to sleep via submission, including a ridiculous 11 rear naked chokes. He was riding an 11-fight unbeaten streak before Bobby Green cracked him in just 33 seconds back in 2023. That loss stung, no doubt, but since then, he's bounced back with a tune-up win and, more recently, a dominant submission over veteran Thiago Moises earlier this year. The man's active, focused, and hungry to claw his way back into the top 15. Now on the other side of the octagon, you've got Manuel El Loco Torres, apt nickname. This guy is chaos in gloves. He's 30 years old, 16-3 overall, and ranked number 26. Same height as Dawson, but he's got a slight reach edge at 73.5 inches. What stands out? A 94% finish rate. 8 knockouts, 7 submissions, only 1 fight has gone the distance. In the UFC alone, he's rattled off highlight reel finishes, a vicious elbow KO in 2023, a lightning-quick guillotine over Chris Duncan in 2024, and most recently, he absolutely dismantled the Iron Chin Drew Dober in under 3 minutes. That was a statement win, and his 4th straight bonus. When Torres steps in, he's not looking to touch gloves, he's looking to end it. Statistically, it's the classic striker versus grappler setup. Dawson averages nearly 4 takedowns per 15 minutes and racks up crazy control time, over 7 minutes in some fights. He's a pressure machine. His striking is efficient, mostly ground and pound, landing just over 3 significant strikes per minute. His stand-up defense? Not great, only 44%, but he's usually dictating where the fight goes. Torres flips that dynamic. He's landing around 6 significant strikes per minute and mixes it up beautifully. Punches, elbows, knees from weird angles. That chaos overwhelmed Drew Dober, and it could catch Dawson too if he enters recklessly. That said, Torres' defense isn't airtight, and he can get wild. The real question? Can Dawson shoot without eating a knee to the face or getting snatched in a guillotine? Because Torres has made a career of punishing bad entries. On the mat though, it's all Dawson. If he gets the back, he locks in like a human backpack. Torres has shown submission ability, sure, but more opportunistic than technical. His wrestling base still lags behind elite lightweights. Chin-wise, both guys have been cracked once. Dawson by Green, Torres by Bahamondes with a head kick. So while they're durable, they're not bulletproof. In the intangibles, momentum leans towards Torres, coming off a huge win and riding high. But Dawson's been through more adversity, and his focus post-knockout loss has been laser sharp. Fight IQ, Dawson's disciplined. Torres, let's just say El Loco isn't just a nickname. If it turns into a brawl, he thrives, but that opens the door for a wrestler like Dawson to capitalize. My scorecard comes out pretty close. Dawson 5, Torres 4. That's not a blowout, but it's enough. Prediction, give me Grant Dawson by submission, rear naked choke, round 2. I think he survives the early storm, wears Torres down late in the first, and then finishes the job once the scrambles get sloppy. Goes the distance? Doubt it. Torres is kill or be killed, and Dawson is a finisher once it hits the mat. Expect chaos early, but control and composure to win the day. How do you see this one going? Drop your predictions in the comments. I'd love to hear your take, and if you're enjoying the breakdown so far, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Plenty more fights to cover. Next up on the main card, light heavyweight fireworks incoming, as former champ Jan Blachowicz takes on the surging knockout machine Bogdan Guskav. Classic setup here, a seasoned veteran versus a ruthless finisher. Can Jan's experience and grit turn back the clock, or will Guskav's raw power make this a short night at the office? Let's talk Jan Polish Power Blachowicz. The man's 42 years old now, 29, 11-1, and currently ranked number 6 in the division. He stands 6'2" with a 78-inch reach and fights out of the orthodox stance. Known for that thudding power and quiet composure, Jan's been in there with the best. Corey Anderson, Souza, Israel Adesanya, you name it. His title run back in 2020 into 2021 was legit, but the years since have been rocky. He lost the belt to Glover Teixeira, a draw with Ankalaev, and a close loss to Alex Pereira. Still, this guy is no easy out. 9 knockouts, 9 submissions, and nearly 20 UFC appearances. This is a high IQ, battle-tested fighter. Now, across the cage, we've got Bogdan Guskav, 33 years old from Uzbekistan, 18-3 overall and ranked number 12. One look at his record and it's pretty obvious. He's a killer. 15 of those 18 wins have come by knockout, and he's never once gone to a decision. You know what that means? He's trying to take your head off from the opening bell. He did get exposed in his UFC debut, quickly subbed by Volkan Ozdemir, but rebounded with 2 brutal KO wins in 2024 and 2025. This fight, by far, the biggest test of his career. If he wins, he's knocking on the door of the top 10. Stylistically, this is technician versus brawler. Jan lands about 3.4 significant strikes per minute at nearly 50% accuracy, and he's defensively sharp too, hovering around 54 to 58%. He'll look to establish his jab, chop at the legs, and counter with that left hook he used to sleep Rockhold and Anderson. Guskav, by contrast, swings big and wild. He's throwing 4.1 strikes per minute, but accuracy and polish aren't really part of the plan. He's headhunting with looping overhands from the jump. On the ground, Jan actually holds a sneaky edge. He averages just over 1 takedown per 15 minutes, and he's finished 9 fights by submission. Arm triangle chokes are his specialty. Guskav, still shaky defensively on the mat. That Ozdemir fight showed the holes, taken down and submitted quick. If Jan blends in some wrestling here, it could be a long or very short night for Guskav once they hit the canvas. When it comes to raw power, Guskav's got the edge in one-shot KO potential, but Jan's power is no joke. He just delivers it with more patience and timing. Chin check? Jan's only been knocked out once in the last decade, while Guskav's durability hasn't really been tested at the elite level. Cardio? No question. Jan's been in 5-round wars, while Guskav has never even seen the 3rd round in a win. If this gets out of the first, things could get dicey for him. Now the intangibles. Jan's experience is off the charts. Former champ, deep resume, high fight IQ. He's adapted to opponents mid-fight, changed strategies on the fly, and beaten both strikers and grapplers at the highest level. Guskav, he's raw. He's got momentum, sure, and confidence coming off those KO wins, but we've yet to see how he holds up under adversity or under the bright lights of a pay-per-view main card. My scorecard reads 9-1 in favor of Blachowicz. That's a dominant position on paper, and I think it'll show in the cage. My prediction is Jan Blachowicz by submission in round 2 via arm triangle choke. He weathers the early chaos, lands clean counters late in round 1, then secures a takedown in the second, advances to mount, and locks in the finish. If Guskav's gonna win, it's gotta be early, first round KO or bust. But Jan's composure, versatility, and veteran savvy should carry him through. What about you? Do you think Guskav pulls off the upset, or does Jan remind us why he's still a threat in the division? Let me know your prediction down low in the comments. Moving along the main card, we've got a fascinating bantamweight matchup. Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbott. This is what you call a generational clash. On one side, you've got an Olympic gold medalist and former 2-division champ. On the other, a tall, fast-rising prospect with all the tools to be the next big thing at 135. Can the savvy vet turn back the clock one more time, or is this where new blood breaks through? Let's start with Triple C. Henry Cejudo, now 38 years old, brings in a 16-5 record and sits at number 9 in the division. Standing just 5'4" with a 64-inch reach, he's giving up a lot of size. But he's made a career of making people forget about that. The guy's resume is stacked. Olympic gold in 2008, flyweight champ, bantamweight champ, wins over Demetrius Johnson, Dominic Cruz, and Marlon Moraes. He's retired on top back in 2020 after stopping Cruz, but returned in 2023. And that comeback, it's been a mixed bag. Close losses to Aljamain Sterling and Merab, then a bounce-back decision win in late 2024. He's hinted that this might be his final walk, so don't be surprised if he leaves it all in the octagon. Standing across from him is Peyton Talbott, just 27 years old, 10-1 as a pro, and absolutely buzzing with hype despite not being ranked yet. He's a 5'10" switch stance striker with a 70-inch reach. That's a massive 6-inch edge in both height and reach over Cejudo, and he uses it well. Long-range tools like kicks, jabs, and sniping knees up the middle. He's got 7 knockouts, fights at a high pace, and grows more dangerous as the rounds go on. His lone loss came earlier this year in a competitive bout, but he rebounded strong and looks sharper than ever. This matchup is pure clash of styles. Cejudo's still one of the best wrestlers to ever do it. His timing on level changes, clinch control, his ability to grind out rounds with top pressure, it's all elite. But there's no denying the signs of age. He's not holding that pace for 15 minutes like he used to. Talbott, on the other hand, brings movement, range, and creativity. He's excellent at punishing entries, whether it's a knee up the middle, a check hook on the level change, or just turning scrambles into striking moments. So the question becomes, can Cejudo consistently close that distance without eating clean shots? Or will Talbott's reach, youth, and volume keep this fight where he wants it, on the feet and at range? Cardio slightly favors Talbott at this point. He builds as the fight goes on, while Cejudo's engine has looked human post-retirement. Power, Talbott's got more finishing upside in the striking exchanges, especially in transition. Cejudo does his damage with pressure and attrition. When we look at the intangibles, both guys bring something special. Cejudo's championship pedigree and fight IQ are undeniable. He adjusts mid-fight better than most, but Talbott has youth durability and confidence. He's not just showing up to test himself, he's here to make a statement. Cejudo may look to smother him early, but if Talbott stuffs a few shots and lands some clean counters, momentum could shift fast. And with all the talk of this possibly being Cejudo's last fight, you wonder if that's added fuel or added pressure. On my scorecard, it's close. Talbott's a 7 and Cejudo's a 6. And I'm picking Peyton Talbott by second round TKO. I think Cejudo has a strong start, maybe even lands a takedown early, but as the fight unfolds, Talbott finds his rhythm, starts landing those long-range strikes, and eventually clips Cejudo on an entry, forcing the refs to step in. Will it go the distance? Unlikely. Both guys are dangerous, but Talbott especially pours it on late. If it does go all 3 rounds, that speaks volumes about Cejudo's grit, but I don't think he makes it that far. Is this a changing of the guard, or does Triple C pull off one more of those vintage performances? Next up, on the main card, we've got a high-stakes flyweight showdown between Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira, a true veteran versus prospect clash that could very well determine the next title challenger at 125 pounds. Can the former champ reclaim his path to gold, or is the Japanese phenom ready to crash the top of the division? Let's start with Brandon, the assassin baby, Moreno. He's 32 years old, 23, 8-2 overall, and currently ranked number 3 in the world. At 5'7" with a 70-inch reach, fighting out of the orthodox stance, Moreno is as well-rounded as they come. 5 knockouts, 11 submissions, and a resume stacked with elite names. He held the flyweight title from 2021 to 2022 and went to war with Dawson Figueiredo 4 times, going 2-1-1 in one of the greatest rivalries in UF history. His most recent outing, a convincing decision win over Amir Albazi in mid-2025, following a razor-close split decision loss to the champ, Alexander Pantoja. There's no question, Moreno has the experience, the composure, and the hunger to make one more title run. On the other side, we've got Tatsuro Taira, the 25-year-old Japanese standout who's been building serious momentum. He's 17-1, ranked number 6, and matches Moreno in size at 5'7" with a 70-inch reach as well. But he brings a completely different look. A southpaw grappler with a sneaky striking game, Taira boasts 5 KOs, 8 subs with a 76% finish rate. His only loss was a close decision in a one-off exhibition at lightweight. At flyweight, still unbeaten. In the UFC, he's racked up 5 straight, including a slick first-round armbar over Carlos Hernandez and a dominant decision over Tim Elliott, his biggest win to date. Stylistically, this is well-rounded versus well-rounded, but there are more layers than that. Moreno relies more on striking volume and sharp boxing. He lands just under 4 significant strikes per minute with 44% accuracy, and his defense sits at a respectable 60%. He throws clean combos, has a great jab cross, and mixes in level changes smartly. Taira, meanwhile, is more calculated, about 2.9 strikes per minute, but more accurate at 54%. He uses his stand-up primarily to set up his grappling, and that grappling is where he shines. He averages over 3 takedowns per 15 minutes with nearly 2 submission attempts per fight. His transitions are slick, his back takes are dangerous, and he's relentless once the fight hits the mat. But here's the thing, Moreno is no easy mark. He's got solid takedown defense at 64%, he's a nightmare to hold down, and he's never been submitted in the UFC. Even against a backpack like Pantoja, Moreno stayed calm, survived long stretches in bad positions, and never panicked. On the feet, Moreno has more knockout power. He's dropped high-level guys, and his timing has only improved. Taira's ground and pound can get him finishes, but he's not known for one-shot power. The cardio? Give that edge to Moreno. He's 5-round proven and thrives in back-and-forth wars. Taira's finishes mostly come early. He hasn't been deep into the 3rd round in a competitive fight. That could matter if this turns into a grind. Now, the intangibles, the experience is a massive edge for Moreno. He's headlined pay-per-views, gone 5 rounds with champions, and dealt with pressure that comes with the gold. Taira, he's still green on that level. He's never fought a top 5 opponent, and this will be his first taste of high-stakes pay-per-view spotlight. Fight IQ, Moreno's shown the ability to adapt. Whether he's switching targets mid-fight or mixing in takedowns when needed, Taira's looked dominant, but we haven't seen him forced into plan B yet. If his first few entries are stuffed, how does he adjust to that? Mentality also plays a role here. Moreno's resilience is legendary. He's been dropped, bloodied, and outgrappled at times, but he always fights through it. Taira was briefly rocked by Hernandez but recovered well. Still, he hasn't felt the kind of adversity Moreno brings, and when the pace ramps up, Moreno lives for that chaos. If this becomes a scramble-heavy brawl, the former champ thrives. So, what's the call? My scorecard? Moreno's got 7, Taira's got 5. It's a competitive fight, but I'm sliding with experience, volume, and pace on Moreno. Prediction? Moreno by unanimous decision. I think he keeps the fight standing just enough, lands the more impactful strikes, and wins 2, maybe all 3 rounds on the judges' scorecards. Taira will have moments, probably a takedown or 2, but Moreno's ability to scramble and make reads mid-fight gives him that edge. Will it go the distance? Most likely. Both guys are durable, and while subs and TKOs are possible, I think we're looking at 15 minutes of high pace. Either way, this fight's a statement. If Moreno wins, he's knocking on the title door again. If Taira pulls the upset, we might be looking at Japan's next UFC title contender. What do you think? Does the veteran hold the line, or is the new generation ready to take over? Let me know down low in those comments, and don't go anywhere. We're heading into the co-main event next. The flyweight title on the line as champ Alexander Pantoja defends against the surging Joshua Van. This one's got fireworks written all over it. Experience, finishing instinct, and gritty jiu-jitsu against youthful aggression and relentless striking volume. Could this be the upset that shakes up the division, or does the champ remind everyone why he's the king? Alexander the Cannibal Pantoja, 35 years old and still sharpening blades, enters 30-5 and riding an 8-fight UFC win streak. At 5'5", with a 67-inch reach, he's compact, powerful, and dangerous everywhere. The Brazilian veteran's game is built around suffocating pressure and back-taking brilliance. 8 knockouts, 12 subs, and a brutal finishing rate north of 65%. Since claiming the belt from Moreno in 2023, he's defended 3 times, a gritty decision over Steve Erceg, and most recently choking out Kai Kara France in round 3. This guy's faced and beaten the best. 2 wins over Moreno, wins over Royval, Cap, and Asakura. He's got the resume, the grit, and the killer instinct. Then there's Joshua the Fearless Van, just 24 years old and surging like a tsunami. At 15-2, he's riding a 5-fight UFC win streak and has forced the UFC's hand with his chaos. Same height, slightly shorter reach at 65 inches, but this kid brings the heat. 7 knockouts, 2 submissions, and a reputation for insane output. His 2025 campaign, crazy. KO'd Bruno Silva in round 3, then turned around just 3 weeks later and upset Brandon Royval in a 419-strike brawl that broke flyweight records. He's been a wrecking ball. Durden, Cerura, Silva, Royval. Now he gets his title shot. Stat-wise, Van overwhelms. He throws nearly 9 significant strikes per minute at 56% clip. Volume, pressure, pace. Pantoja, by contrast, lands 4.3 per minute at 50%, but with far more intent behind each shot. Van's defense is decent at 57%, but he still absorbs over 6 strikes a minute. He's hittable, and that's risky against somebody like Pantoja who makes the moments count. The ground game, that's Pantoja's realm. He averages nearly 3 takedowns per 15 minutes with strong control and about 1 submission attempt per fight. Rear naked choke is his weapon of choice, and he's a master at finding the back. Van's takedown defense is 81%, solid, but mostly against mid-tier grapplers. Silva got him down. Pantoja is on an absolute another level. Van rarely wrestles offensively and prefers to keep it standing, and that might be a problem. Cardio's an interesting wrinkle. Pantoja is 5-round tested, but he burns hot. If this turns into a high-tempo war, can he keep pace late? Van's only gone deep a couple of times, but he looked great doing it. The Royval fight was a statement, fought hard in every round. But this is 5 rounds with a finisher who doesn't let you breathe. Intangibles, heavy edge to the champ. 17 UFC fights, tough winner, held the belt, defended it. Pantoja's seen it all. Van's green. He's talented, fearless, but this is his first real taste of elite opposition. He's also facing somebody who doesn't give rounds away and can shift momentum with a single scramble or shot. Experience matters here. So how does it play out? My scorecard, Pantoja 8, Van 4. Prediction, Alex Pantoja, by submission, rear naked choke, round 3. Van starts fast, lands volume, maybe takes round 1, but Pantoja weathers it, finds his timing, gets it to the ground, and starts to break him. Round 3, takes the back, sinks the choke. That's the champ's blueprint. Does it go the distance? Highly unlikely. Pantoja finishes most of his wins, and Van is always flirting with chaos. One mistake, and it's over. What's your call on this one? Is Van ready to shock the world, or does Pantoja tighten his grip on gold and go towards that pound-for-pound title? We close the show with the bantamweight title rematch. Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan. This one's got everything. Championship stakes, a grudge match vibe, and two guys with completely opposite styles. You've got a pressure wrestler with an endless motor and a calculated sniper with revenge on his mind. Can Merab grind out another dominant win, or has Yan leveled up enough to flip the script? Merab, the Machine Dvalishvili, is 34 out of Georgia and currently riding a wild 14-fight win streak. He's 21-4 overall, stands 5'6" with a 68-inch reach, and is built to wrestle non-stop. This guy is cardio personified. He captured the belt by beating Sean O'Malley and then defended it with a brutal 5-round beatdown of Corey Sandhagen in his last fight. Finishes aren't his game. He's just got 3 KOs and 2 subs, but decision dominance is. He drowns people. He's beaten O'Malley twice, took out Sandhagen, outworked Cejudo, and even neutralized Umar. It's been one of the most suffocating title runs in recent memory. Standing across from him is the former champ, Petr No Mercy Yan. He's 32, 19-5 overall, 5'7" with a 67-inch reach, and fights switch stance with a striking clinic. This is a guy who once looked like the most technical striker in the UFC. 7 KOs, 1 sub, and championship experience to match. After dropping the belt in 2021 and going on a skid, he's back on the heater with wins over Song Yadong, Dawson, Figueiredo, and Marcus McGee. 3 straight decisions, clean and professional. He's sitting at number 7, but make no mistake, he's earned this rematch. Stylistically, it's classic volume wrestler versus precision striker. Merab averages 6.4 takedowns per 15 minutes. Yes, you heard that right. And he never stops shooting. His striking is functional, 4.3 significant strikes per minute at 59% accuracy, mostly to set up entries. Yan, more refined, 5.1 strikes per minute and 61% accuracy, plus pinpoint counters that can turn rounds on a dime. His takedown defense is a key storyline here, 82% across his career. And don't forget, Merab shot 49 times in their first fight. Yes, you heard me correct. Yan stuffed most of them early, but the volume broke him down. Durability? Both guys are tanks. Neither's ever been knocked out. Merab's losses are all decisions or 1 early sub years back. Yan's dropped razor-close calls, but he's never been finished. The ground game leans towards Merab, but his control is more about scoring than threatening. Yan, on the other hand, survived Sterling on the mat multiple times. Fight IQ? They both adjust well, but Yan's mid-fight reads are elite. When he figures out timing, he starts pulling ahead. Now for the intangible. Merab's confidence is sky high, coming off back-to-back title defenses and executing his game plan to a T. But Yan's hunger can't be overstated here. This isn't just about the belt, it's about redemption. He got outworked last time, and you know he's been preparing to fix that mistake. At 32, he might be in his physical prime, while Merab is 34. He isn't declining yet, but that pace won't last forever. No layoffs for either, both sharp, both ready. My scorecard? It's a big one. Yan edges it, 8-7. My prediction? Petr Yan. Unanimous decision. He'll survive the early storm, adjust mid-fight like he always does, and start landing those clean counters that sap Merab's gas tank. Yeah, I said that. Expect Yan to steal the later rounds with cleaner work and better optics. Merab pushes pace early, maybe wins round 1 or 2, but Yan surges late. Goes the distance? Probably. These guys are iron-willed and hard to finish, but if there is a stoppage, Yan's power might crack through late if Merab fades from the pace. So how do you see it playing out? Does Merab keep the belt with another wrestling masterclass, or does No Mercy reclaim his crown in a statement win? Here's the full slate of predictions for UFC 323. Grant Dawson by submission in round 2. Yan by submission in round 2. Peyton Talbott, TKO, round 2. Brandon Moreno, unanimous decision. Alexander Pantoja, submission, round 3. And Petr Yan, unanimous decision over the champ, Merab Dvalishvili. That's the rundown. Like, comment, and sub if you're enjoying the breakdowns. UFC 323 is stacked, and it's going to deliver.